Thank you for taking the time to join us here on Drummer's Paradise today. We truly do appreciate your support. And if you can, please hit that subscribe button, the like button, and turn on that notification bell. It truly does help our community grow. Now, without further ado,
today we have the very talented and seasoned drummer joining us from Toronto, Dean Glover. This man has played drums for Groovestone, the James Clark Institute. We are very excited to get to know him and what drives his passion for groove. But first, let's check out this video of Dean crushing the kit. Adam, that was pretty insane.
Wow, that was insane.
Dean, kudos, man. That was crushing.
Thank you, my brother.
Amazing, amazing. Now let's dive in and get to know you a little bit better.
Hit me with it. Let's do it. By the way, where's the wings? What's going on here, man?
Yeah, sorry, we're not
Where's the
Sean
hot
Edmonds.
wings?
We don't have the hot wings for
I was
you.
waiting for the bomb, man.
The bomb,
The bomb.
yes, Pandora's bomb.
Oh, sorry, that's another show, folks. Okay, sorry.
Wrong show.
Wrong show.
So, Dean, let's start out by getting to know where you're from, man. Where do you call hometown?
Home is Toronto, but for more specifically, it's Etobicoke. I kind of have been in Etobicoke since very, very young. Where I was born was actually up around here, more like Lake Simcoe, Keswick area.
Okay.
Newmarket. And, moved to Toronto when I was 3, grew up there, and pretty much that's my home base now. Yeah, 100%.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What would you say some of the influences in your life that got you into playing drums and kept you motivated?
One thing. August 4th.
Oh.
1979.
Pivotal moment.
Pivotal moment.
Okay.
You ready for it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kiss, Maple Leaf Gardens.
Oh.
Dynasty Tour.
Wow.
Peter Criss is still in the band. They hate each other by this point.
Okay, yep.
If you go on YouTube, you can find the rehearsal audio where they're screaming at each other, or at least Peter's angry. But that was, I had been a Kiss fan for a couple of years already before that. But my mom got tickets. I sat in the gold seats at the old Maple Leaf Gardens for Kiss, and I lost my mind.
I bet.
And then it wasn't too long after that I started drum lessons. So I started when I was 9.
Okay.
Yeah, and a little tiny music store in Etobicoke, South Etobicoke on the Queensway called Queensway Music Center. Mm-hmm. And my first teacher was Al Blue, and he taught me how to read. He taught me how to play. He was an old jazz cat.
Okay. Jazz roots.
He always seems like he was perpetually 80 years old because he was an old dude. I without knowing for sure, I can imagine that he's no longer with us. Mm-hmm. But he did so much for me and primarily taught me how to read drum notation, which I used and still continue to use today. So yeah.
Nice. So Dean, tell us, what kind of gear do you got going currently? What kind of drums do you play? Cymbals? Are you into vintage snare drums? Do you just got a regular snare drum going on? What do you got kicking today when you play live?
I got more colors for the palette. than ever before. I didn't for the longest time. I got to tell you, you guys, let me know if you know what I'm talking about. Like only until about maybe 10, somewhere between 10 and 15 years ago, I had one drum set. That was it.
Yeah.
Like all my life growing up, 20s and 30s, I had one kit, and that was that kit. That my first pro kit I ever bought. It was Yamaha Recording Custom from the late 80s. Great drum set, right?
Drums, yeah.
And it was like, the cherry wood, Dave Weckl. I think he even had something to do with the design because they were the square power toms, like 10 by 10 and 12 by 10. And anyway, I had that kit pretty much up until the 2000s. And then all of a sudden, started working a little bit more, got a little bit of money. Next thing you know, I'm buying more gear.
Yeah.
And so when you ask that question, it's a loaded question, but I'll tell you.
Yeah.
My favorite things are I have a couple of Yamaha kits, Oak Custom and Recording Custom. Different bass drum sizes like 24, 22, 20, that kind of thing. And I'm not bragging. I'm kind of ashamed of this because I don't play everything, right? I told you guys out before we started recording that the one I do play most is this tiny little sonar kit because it fits on little tiny club stages so easily. Yeah. So I probably play that kit more than everything. But I love the Recording Custom. It still sounds great after, it's been over like 45 years, I think.
What kind of heads did you put on it?
I would put, so there's two kinds of ways of thinking about this. People swear that ambassadors, clear one ply ambassadors sound best. I think they do really sound great, but if I'm playing rock, it's an Emperor.
I would agree with you.
Yeah. Or it's a pinstripe.
Okay.
Right. Just because it's pretty much the same, but anyway, for rock stuff, 100%. But I also have a Ludwig kit, Maple Custom, which I love.
What year is that one?
That one's actually a newer one.
Okay.
It's a combination of 2013 and 2018, but it's the sky blue pearl finish, which is just gorgeous.
Beautiful.
But my vintage kit is a Rogers.
Oh.
Rogers from the late 60s.
Amazing.
They're really difficult to date, but this one, from what I understand, is somewhere around 68, 69.
Okay.
It's double kick, 20 by 14, 12, 13, and two 16-inch floor toms, silver sparkle.
Oh, nice.
I've recorded with them once, so they've been out of the house or out of the rehearsal room. But they sit there every day on the top shelf of my shelves.
And they look at you.
And I look at them and they look at me and I'm like, I promise one day I'll take you out. Anyway. But for snare drums, Black Beauty. I know Andrew, I think, said the same thing.
Yeah, I love them.
I mean, it's funny.
Industry standard.
It kind of is, right, for a reason. I know people who don't like them. It's weird, but I think it's how you tune it.
I think so.
Like if it's really, really low and really kind of floppy and papery sounding, maybe people won't like it. But when you tighten up and crank up
got a crack on
100%.
it. It doesn't.
Nickel over brass. Where I've got a DW version of the same kind of drum.
Okay.
And they sound very different from one another, right?
Really?
So I play mostly metal snare drums. Nothing really super vintage. But I do have a couple of wood. Like I have an old Tama Superstar one that I don't really play that much. But again, these are like it's colors, like palette. The palette of colors to paint with. And sometimes that snare drum that I didn't think I would ever play, really, all of a sudden that one sounds amazing on the recording. So like whatever works. Yeah, cymbals, mixture of everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right? Yeah. So, are you self-taught? Did you took lessons? I think you mentioned taking some.
I did. Yeah.
Why don't you take us through that journey?
Sure. So Kiss was the first thing. My mother probably got it in her head that I like to hit things with sticks at a young age, but I don't know when that was really. But I do know that I started playing drums, when I was 9. So Al Blue was my first drum teacher, jazz guy, taught me how to read. It was awesome. Would literally run down. He had them hanging in his room, in his studio, hanging with like bound together with those big fat, clips that, a stack of like drum solo notation. And he would pull a stack down and he would, on his knee, he would leaf through it like this.
Oh, wow.
And then he would find stuff and he'd be like, this, and then he'd grab another one and he'd pull out pages and he'd be like, come back next week with this learned. And I would have to run it down and play it in front of him, right? So it got progressively, harder and harder. Anyway, that was amazing. Then I moved on later, after in my 20s, late teens, I took lessons from Paul DeLong, from Kim Mitchell, and lots of other bands. But yeah, Paul DeLong is incredible.
Very influential in Canadian drumming, isn't
No
he?
kidding, eh?
Oh, absolutely. Legend.
After that, it was Brian Humphreys. He was a grad of York University. He taught me about David Garibaldi and funk and that approach and the Tower of Power. Like, I just lost, right.
Squib cakes. I always ask a lot of drummers, I'm like, hey, man, have you ever tried to learn the intro of Squib cakes?
Right.
Like, that's a complex intro.
100%.
And it's got so many variations and grooves. And
Absolutely.
It's an amazing piece of music.
It is incredible. And when you study Garibaldi, the kind of control that he has is incredible, right? So Brian taught me a lot of that stuff. I won't say he taught me to the point where I can play it, but I mean that we went through stuff like that, and he gave me stuff, because that was some of the stuff he was playing. So it was fantastic. And then later, the last teacher I had, which unfortunately I couldn't keep going back to because he was in the east end of the city, I'm in the west end, and man, that 401, I'm telling you,
Just a disaster.
I just had to say, forget it. I'm not going to make the lesson today. If he had a student right after me and I'm like on the 401 stuck and I'm looking at the time and it's like another 40 minutes till I get there and I'm already 10 minutes late. It's like, I had to turn back a couple times, right? So that was Dave Langeth. Do you know that name, Dave Langeth?
I'm not familiar now.
So Dave is like, when you see him, I'll shoot you links. Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you see this guy play, you'll go, who is this guy? He's been around for so long. He's a Berkeley guy,
Okay.
right? Played with I'm Like a Bird. What that? I'm like a bird.
I know exactly.
No. Oh no, we have to look up that later.
Yeah, we'll
Anyway.
have to look that up. Played with her. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, was her drummer for a while. He plays with Kim Mitchell now.
Oh wow, not good for him.
So if you know Kim Mitchell, Kim does not choose
Just anyone.
drummers under a certain level, I think, right? And Dave is definitely one of those levels, right? This is the dumbest thing to say, but everybody knows that Rush will never play again as Rush. I mean, I'm sure they might do benefits where they have people play,
Fill
right?
in, right?
But the idea of starting the band over again and getting a new drummer, I don't think that'll ever happen. But if it did, my vote is for Dave Langeth because he also does a Rush tribute show, and he knows everything about Neil. And he knows exactly Neil's style. And he is so overqualified for that gig in a way. But anyway, I'm gushing. There's so many good drummers, man.
So many good influences.
But that's just it too. So these are people that I studied with, but at the same time, I would say who am I influenced by? All the local drummers that I see in the scene that I'm in. There's like Dave Patel, and there's a guy named Thomas Concan, there's Neil Burston, there's Chris McNeil, there's all these drummers that are local. Oh, Marco Stornelli. There's all these guys that are in the scene that I play in, and these guys are all killer drummers. So I get inspired by them too. Not even so much from lessons. That's a long-winded way to get to your question.
That's okay. That's why we're here to
But
chat.
yeah,
and,
man.
That's good.
It's like you get to a certain point where it's like you just get inspired, and that's part of the learning process too, right?
It really is, yeah.
I mean, some people talk about, I saw so-and-so, and they were so amazing that I just said, I'm going to give up. I'm like, no, dude, doesn't that make you feel inspired to go hit the kit the next day?
It should be, yes. I want to figure that out.
That's kind of, I used to feel that way, like, but it's like, no, it's like that's what inspires you to just start woodshedding the next day,
Right, yeah.
100%. Get back in the room, pick up the sticks, and give her.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Dean, with so much information out there on the internet today, where would you suggest a young, inspiring drummer to go to get their foundation built?
Wow. I'll be like a broken record here and say Drumeo, I guess, number one. Let's get it off the table.
It's industry standard, right?
It is, they are kind of, they've built a model that just works, right?
Really
do you remember, does anybody, I know Drum Channel still exists.
Yes.
And I remember being a member early on when they launched. And they got Thomas Lang and all these big cats from the Los Angeles area, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I also like JP Bouvet.
Great drummer.
Wicked drummer. His lessons, I've checked them out. 100% full on, fantastic. The reason I like them is because they're well organized to get through. Drumeo has that too, but with JP Bouvet, I don't know. There's something about what I really like there that so far what I've seen, I can see them being really useful. Then there's other people like what is it? Mike's Lessons. Mike, he plays the Gretsch kit, the 4-piece. He came from kind of the gospel chops kind of background. Mike. Oh no. Anyway.
Another one of those moments.
Another one of those. I am 54 years old. Anyway,
It's allowed.
yeah. So there's so much stuff online. It's crazy, right? Canadian drummers. There's what is it? Beat Down Rob Brown. His channel's awesome. I watch him. He's funny, and he's a great drummer, and he plays well. Sarah, what is her last name? Sarah Drums. She is. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
I don't know Sarah Drum.
We're gonna share links because
We're gonna check it out. Yes.
Sarah is not only schooled, you have university level education in music, right?
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
But she's been in music all her life. She grew up playing, I think, like Southeast Asian music.
Okay.
Right? Tabla stuff, like all this. But her drumming is like just next level as well, right? But the reason I love her so much is because she's weird.
I think I've seen her. I think I know who you're talking about. She's
you
eating
will
a
see
cheeseburger
clips.
while she's playing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
That's her.
that
She
one?
wrote the song about her belly.
Yeah, yes,
Dude.
yes. I know who you're talking about.
Bring the weird back,
Yeah.
man.
I love it. It's good.
She is like the most creative force out there right
Yes.
now. And I absolutely like adore what she does because she's got the talent. It's not a question. But I love that she just, if somebody like tries to go in on her for some stupid reason, she doubles down and says, and gives it right back to them. Because
Yes.
not only does she have the talent, she got the humor and it just, like water off a duck's back, right?
Right,
It's
yes.
amazing. So
That's
yeah.
fun.
So yeah, I would say like the Drumeo stuff, there's also individual YouTubers that I've seen. There's a guy, you know what? I really should have wrote these things down before I came in here because I knew you were going to ask this question. I am not prepared. There's a guy named Steve who plays a Yamaha a Phoenix kit. Is that what they're called? Yeah. He's from the States. I see him doing incredible stuff and doing linear stuff. And he's a guy that, again, like he probably has lessons, but anybody from Canada or well outside of, knowing about him would never know who this guy is.
Right. It's a bit tiny.
There's so many individual players. Oh, Tommy Igoe. Hands for a Lifetime. Have you ever?
No, I have to look this guy up.
Oh, dude.
Tommy Igoe.
Tommy Igoe. Not only a great drummer, but just an incredible personality to be an educator. All right. I know I'm missing tons of people, but
Oh, it's okay.
But anyway, Tommy Igoe comes from a very musical family, but his Hands for a Lifetime, or Great Hands for a Lifetime, I think it's called, is a whole package on just rudiments and flow and getting, you're playing down at that level so you are super comfortable. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's
So-
amazing.
So, what do you say are some of the key elements in developing a solid foundation when it comes to drumming?
Practice, obviously. Knowing how to practice. I don't.
Perfect practice makes perfect. You don't practice. the right
Kind of, or
things,
it's like knowing how to practice. Like I haven't licked this yet at all, because I'm not. You get in there and as soon as it becomes difficult, you just move away.
You walk
You just
away.
start
Start
hitting
jamming on
harder
a
and just
song.
going back to stuff right? And it's like I got to learn that too. That's kind of sometimes why I go and I take lessons or I check out what's online because I'm really looking for a way to maximize practicing. Because as I get older and I work and all this other stuff too, it's like I don't always get the time to do it.
Right. Too busy.
Right. So it's like knowing how to practice is one thing. If somebody is young, I would it depends on how young they are, but time is way more important than licks for me. Right. No, have a good solid foundation, have a good pocket, understand what a pocket is, understand how to really, really hit the drums. If it's a rock band, to hit like a rock band, you know what I mean? Learn about dynamics, right? 100%.
So important.
Yeah. The other thing is, and we talked a little bit about this before we started recording, but if you're old enough to go out, because it depends, right? Some of these places that offer this, they're in bars, so you can't really get in if you're young. But go to jams. Go to wherever in your town or city, whatever, there is a musician's jam going on. Start getting out there and introducing yourself to people.
Yeah.
Start making the rounds. Get up, as they say. Do one song. And start that process because you're accomplishing two things. You're playing with real people. of varying degrees of ability.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So you're playing with people that may be at the same level, below you, way above you, whatever, right? It's one thing to sit at home and blow like crazy to gridded metal, right? And be impressive. But then you go out and play with people at a jam who are all mixed, abilities.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's not grooving the way it should be, right?
You
It's
got to practice versatility, right? You
Right.
got to be versatile. You got to have the dynamic, the technique.
right.
Get the groove. Yeah.
And if you hone that really great time in, with the headphones on, with perfectly gridded music and all that stuff, that's great. But like you can still apply that to playing with real people, but you learn to ebb and flow with them, And so I've learned, like, for example, my bass player in Groovestone, Stan Michek. Stan, how are you?
Shout out.
Shout out to Stan. Stan's legend, right? Stan's like, sometimes I'll start off things a little bit too fast, a little bit too slow, and it takes time to know why somebody might ask you to pull back on the tempo a bit, right? Why? Because I got to sing this thing. Stan's up there going, I got to sing this thing,
Right.
and you're going Mach 1, right? So you learn things like this playing with people, not machines and computers. And I mean, again, we incorporate some of that stuff too, but it's like when you're playing with real people, that's when you cut your teeth. That's when you learn your craft. And that's when you get a chance to, really learn like how to play with, especially with musicians, obviously, that are a higher level, right? Because, if you can meet them, then you can create something special. And we all live for that, I think, right? That moment where you're in the middle of it with somebody and everything sounds incredible and you're locked with everybody and it's just...
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's a bliss, right?
It really is. It's exactly. You enter a phase where you're not thinking and it's just, you're playing the music and it feels effortless at that moment, right? I guess that's the thing that we're all trying. So I would say that the last thing I'll say is, you have to practice gratitude at every given moment, right? There are musicians who are amazing, and sometimes the big problem is that they know they're amazing.
Right.
And for some people, that's a trap. And for other people, they remain humble. They show gratitude no matter what happens, whoever they're playing with. And that's the key for me.
That's a really good point, Dean. That's a very good point.
You got to show gratitude. You got to show gratitude for everything. You don't whine about money. No. You don't complain. Another big drummer hero of mine is a guy named Randy Cook. He's
Great guy.
You know Randy. Okay.
Yeah,
so I don't have to tell you then. Randy is like, I don't even know him. I never met him. I hear him in interviews.
Drummer.
And I hear his playing. 100%. Yeah. And I listen to him on podcasts, and he's the same way. Like, or at least one of the people I learned this from is him. It's like, when he got to LA, he was talking about how he would take gigs and nobody ever talked about money. And it's like, yeah, you could be the person that says, hey, I need some gas money or I need money. And it's like, well, no, for the first however long he was down there, he's just like, yes, yes, yes to everything. And then if the money was there, the money was there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I still kind of, even at an older age, I'm like, I will say yes to pretty much everything, unless I just can't do it, Right. So gratitude, because you never know. Like, even with the thing that you think may not be a great gig, will teach you something,
That's true.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So fill us in when you started playing live shows and how quickly that progressed into bigger shows and potentially some outdoor festivals that you may have done throughout your career.
So yeah, playing live, that's the whole point, right? That's kind of the goal. So playing live started pretty early. Soon as I was done high school, I got into a band, jumped into a van and took off.
Fun. Yeah. Across Canada?
Yeah, we're out of here, eh?
Not even across Canada, but it was mostly Ontario and into other areas. But like, it was just doing music professionally, and getting sort of used to that every single day. And, then I came back and that kind of stopped after a while. I went back to school, but I didn't give up playing. I never stopped playing. But I decided, okay, I'm going to pursue some other interest that I have. But I've always been in indie bands. I've always been in bands, always been playing the circuit in Toronto. Mostly these days I play out in, Port Credit and Mississauga because they have an amazing community that supports music like 6-7 nights a week, right? So it's amazing. Shout out to the Shore Grill and Grotto. Shout out to Rockin' Docks. Lots of places that have bands and a lot of, that's what I mean. You go to the jams, they're out there in Port Credit, but you also go out there because there's just so many musicians and there's somebody to see every night. And then you can network, you can meet drummers, you can talk to them about what they do and what you do. It's amazing. Everybody's super supportive, right?
Just soak it all in.
Yeah. So playing live as much as you can is when I was younger, playing in a band meant kind of being in a gang. Mm-hmm. And nobody really liked it when the gang member left and played with another gang.
Drummers are known to do
and
that.
And some bands are still like this, right? Like I'm too old to be in a gang. I'm too old,
You're too old
to be in a gang.
You heard it from him
right here for the first time.
I used to get into, not fights, but I used to get into, arguments or let's just say conversation about, listen, the reason you want to play with me is because I've done that. Because I've had those experiences, because I went off and at the age of 19, this is the worst gig I ever played, right?
All right, let's
Ready
hear
for
it. Yes.
Worst gig I ever played, Ottawa. It was for my drum teacher. He said, I want you to sub in for a gig. It was with a Tamil synth pop band.
Oh, interesting.
Dude, I was so
lost.
I was, like I have the sheet music, but it was like I crapped the bed on the gig. Like I did okay, but like I knew the musical director did not like me, and I just you gotta take those moments and you gotta pick yourself up.
That's right.
Dust yourself off.
Yes.
And get going somewhere and do the next
gig.
one. On to the next gig.
Yes.
So yeah, that kind of thing. It's like. Playing live, just again, you do it as much as you can. If you're a drummer, you know that drummers can be in short supply. So a lot of good drummers get multiple gigs and multiple offers because their skills are highly in demand, right? There's a whole substitute system in Port Credit where, musicians, if the drummer can't make it, you call somebody. You have a call list of people that you want to sub. I've been lucky enough that I get to do that sometimes, right? And through those connections, I get other gigs. So all of a sudden, I get, we get festival dates that are, for Canada Day or whatever, like big events that are big productions, and we get, those offers, which is amazing, right? The biggest thing I've ever played was a full circle moment where Stan and I got to play Massey Hall.
Oh, nice.
And that was a full circle moment for us in so many ways because we grew up, looking at, Rush records, the live records, going, it was recorded on that stage, Yeah. And then to be all of a sudden, in, I think it was 2016, on that stage, playing for the 50th, what would have been the 50th birthday of Jeff Healey.
Oh, amazing.
So it was a night where all these incredible guitar players came up from the U.S. and, I was the drummer, Stan was the musical director that night. And this was all put together by a friend who I had known who had a record store on Yonge Street called Monster Records, Roger Costa. Okay. And Roger asked me to be on a tribute record to Jeff Healey that was some old material that hadn't been recorded or released like as new release material. So I played on that, and then he's like, I'm putting together this 50th thing and I want you to be a part of it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why me? Like, what do they call it? Imposter syndrome. Right. I still get it. I still feel like, why me?
Why me?
Like, why do you guys want to talk to me? Like, so we, I prepped for that thing for 2 straight months, man.
Good. Yeah, that's good.
It was 21 songs I had to learn, and I woodshedded every single day for 2 months because I did not want to blow this, number one.
Yeah.
I did not want to be surprised by anything.
Smart. You didn't want to repeat Ottawa?
I didn't want to repeat 19 years of age or 18 or whatever I was.
Yeah.
And I get there, and surprisingly, I didn't choke because I can get nervous. I still get nervous. Of
course.
You know how I'm nervous is I start yawning. That's my giveaway. I don't know if you ever experienced that, but yawning is apparently a sign of nervousness, and your brain needs oxygen. So I'm screwed. But anyway, So the night was like 3 hours long, and it was my time on stage was interrupted by one band, and that was the Trues. The Trues came on and did a set. Amazing.
Yes.
Great night.
Great Canadian.
And then we went back on again, and then the encore was every single guitar player. I don't know. There must have been 15 of them up there.
Wow.
And we all did "See the Light," right, by Jeff Healey, and I counted it off, and you hear me on the video, 1, 2, 3, and I was just like, wow. And I go back and I look at stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't know how I got here. But here's the moral to the story is this: I grew up with Jeff Healey living down the street from me.
Oh.
Stan lived a block away from me,
Okay.
and we grew up together.
Very tight.
We've known each other since 11 or 12 years old. Yeah. Played in bands a long time. We used to play Iron Maiden. We used to do Iron Maiden as fast as we could. We would do Rime of the Ancient Mariner as fast as we could, and then as slow as we could, and then at regular album speed, like just for the for a lark, for a lark, right? Yeah. And we had Brent Phillips on guitar, the master of disaster. Rest in peace, Brent. Yeah, man, that was fun times, man. So Jeff lived down the street from us. He went to my public school. He went to my high school. He was always a few years older than I was. So we all knew Jeff. I knew his sisters growing up. And here we are on the stage commemorating him.
That's a special moment.
For what would have been his 50th birthday at Massey Hall. It's amazing. Like, I couldn't even write this as a story. And here we are on that stage, and it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that energy Healey, that night.
He had that venue at Queen and Bathurst for
yes.
the long.
Oh
yeah.
yes, I've seen him there. Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, great place. I played that a few times myself. 100%. Just like a pillar of the music community, and then meeting some of the musicians that that he played with over the years. Humbled, gratitude once again.
Gratitude, yes.
Gratitude. This is a guy that we all looked up to, like this is a guy that, local boy made good, international fame.
That's right. Yeah.
And what a style that he did it with,
That's true too.
Playing that guitar on his lap, incredible. Anyway, yeah. So playing live, I kind of gave up the idea that, the old rock and roll idea that you're going to get famous and you're going to sell 1 million records, and that's an old dream. That's a boy dream. That's a young girls or boys dream. But now it's like, those things can still happen, but it's about, again, showing gratitude, being a good person, showing up, having your homework done, and being good at the drums. But again, like sometimes those things about your personality can compensate for, let's say, I don't know, because you can't, whatever, like play like Weckl or Caliuta.
Right, yeah. You're lacking one.
Wouldn't we all want to? But at the same time, it's like you got the skill set you do. You keep working, as you do on whatever it is that you want to get good at. But all those other intangible things are things that you learn on gigs, you learn in meeting people, and you also learn about talking about music. As you can probably tell watching this, I talk too much. I'm a teacher as well.
Not too much at all.
But like that I love talking about music because I love hearing what inspires people, right?
So let me ask you this question about playing a festival or something. So what's the biggest pivotal performance you've done in front of an audience, like the biggest audience you did, and kind of walk us through that experience? How was that?
Well, that would have been Massey Hall.
It was Massey Hall.
It was I played.
That's a great story.
We also did, like they do a Canada Day thing out in Port Credit, which gets attended by like sometimes 10 to 15,000 people.
Oh, that's a big crowd.
So that can be and we did like a Tom Petty tribute because another one of the things that we do every once in a while is we have this Tom Petty sort of review, Tom Petty's Greatest Hits Live, and we debuted it there.
Oh wow!
First gig, and
15,000 right there.
It was fantastic. We had a ball.
It's a great way to start.
Yeah.
It's a great way to start.
It's a great way to start. Why not? Trial by fire. Go.
That's right.
Yeah. But it's about staying calm. It's about knowing everything.
Right.
And you know what? The other thing as a drummer, sometimes you just got to advocate for yourself with like with the monitor person.
Right. Yeah.
Because while everybody up front who's singing has got the attention of the monitor person.
Yeah.
You wait till that's done, and then you got to make sure that your monitors are good too.
You have to get a good mix, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, I had my 9-volt battery run out on me on my in-ears on that gig, and I'm like, and the guy comes running around, and we're trying to figure it out. Anyway, it was amazing. First song.
There goes your click.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man. Any funny tour stories you can tell us about?
Tour stories. Tour stories.
Yeah,
Any like
it could be a funny moment. It could be some and it could go all the way back from like high school to current. To,
well, okay, well, not really funny, but like brash when you're young, right?
Okay, yes, let's hear this.
So, the only reason I'm thinking about this is because I just recently gave a friend a copy of this. So we did our high school talent show, right? It was called Star Search. Tobico Collegiate shout out, UCI, 1989 class of 1989. We had the end of the year talent show, right? And we're in a band. We're called Cannibalized in Autumn.
What a beautiful name to bring to a high school.
Right, that's an amazing name.
It's actually it's a Salvador Dali painting.
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah. It's just meaning behind it.
So we named the band after this, right? And we got up there and we did a bunch of songs, but we did like cool songs. Like we did Lou Reed.
Nice.
We did like the Sonics. Like we did stuff that, wasn't on the radar in the late 80s, right? So it's like underground garage stuff kind of, right? But we got up there and we played, but oh man, we went way over time. And we got in such trouble after because we were supposed to do like 2 or 3 songs, but we ended up doing, I think, 4. And we did a really super long version of Sympathy for the Devil, where it took like 15 minutes just to get through this song.
Added 5 solos.
The curtain closes at the intermission point, and it's like we just sort of knew we were in trouble, but that was awesome. Yeah, but that was like a punk rock thing to do in a way
it
back
was,
then.
right?
It's like, forget it.
And it still is.
You can wait for the dancing, to the 80s stuff. We're going to play these songs, and we're going to, it was amazing. Yeah.
Well, I like it. That's so good.
That's awesome. So what tips can you give a young, inspiring drummer when they're getting ready to start beginning to play live shows?
Yeah, it's all about, what did Neil Peart say? It's all about preparation meeting opportunity, right? So you got to be prepared, be confident, be grateful, and get out there and play as much as you can. Meet people. Again, if they're really young, just get inspired. Like there's no shortage of it online, right?
It's true.
Even like you said, locally, like I know like with the scene today, it's so hard that people go out and see live music,
right,
especially independent music, right? And there's so many great, inspiring local musicians.
There's a lot of talent.
You can sign up and pay $200 to Drumeo. That's fine. But, a subway ride or bus ride or car ride can take you to, I don't know, like it's hard, right? Like, if we're talking about underage folks, but they can even get in. If it's a restaurant, like, some of the places I play are restaurants, right? So it's like, jammers can get up at a young age. Like get out and get inspired by the people that are in your local area that are playing, because there's going to be a scene somewhere. You just got to kind of find it, right? So, the biggest thing is to like always find that inspiration. It doesn't always have to come from drums too, by the way. Like get inspired by art, get inspired by whatever it is. Like, I get equally inspired by guitar players, bass players, keyboard players, singers, vocalists, or anything else, right? That may find a way into how I think about the drums or how I think about rhythm, and just be a conscious. If you're in, like, for example, if you want to get into drums because you want to be the best at it and you want to blow everybody away, well, that's cool. But I think that's going to get, dulled after a while.
That's also a lifelong journey and commitment.
Right. And you're bound to be disappointed at some point. Or you're bound to have the guy in the Tamil pop group turn around and look at you like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you?
Like you said earlier, right? You could get frustrated after 20 minutes of playing something. That could happen with 20 years of playing drums.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But the thing, again, if you go through those moments, that's the opportunity to, again, show gratitude. Thank you. Apologize for what happened. And you learn from it and you take it forward. You don't get defeated by it, right? So, I mean, I don't know. Like, this is how I kind of think now about everything. I'm super grateful. I really love playing with the people that I play with and the people that sometimes I get to play with. That's not, regular. Like if I sub in for somebody, because the people that I always say yes to are people that I respect, I enjoy playing with. And it turns out at the end of the day, we can have a great conversation about food, music, travel, whatever it might be, right? So it's really about a community of people that you want to be around.
Yes, and a camaraderie.
Yeah, right. Even if they're not drummers.
Right, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
So walk us through the history of becoming a working drummer. How did that all evolve?
Shout out Stan once again.
Hey, Stan.
No, the reason I say that is because for a while there, I didn't play with anybody. Like after, there were periods where I would play with like an original band, like we would be doing the Bovine all the time. I was in a couple of punk rock bands. We would play a lot. Then that one would kind of collapse or implode, and I'd go on to the next thing. And maybe one musician from this band and another one from this band. And you know how it works.
Very
right?
common, yes.
And but then that kind of stopped, and there was a couple of years where I didn't play with anybody, and I was really kind of jonesing because I was like. I wanted to play.
When it's in you, it's
and
in you.
And that's when the idea of I'm like, well, F it. I'm just gonna get into a cover band. I don't care, right? So Craigslist musicians wanted, which was not it wasn't regrettable. But for example, I met some people there. We played, we practiced, didn't really play live. So that kind of got frustrating, and then that band folded, right?
Jam band.
But around the same time, I reconnected with Stan, who I hadn't seen in a long time, because up until then, I hadn't seen him. He was off being a professional musician for the last 20 years, and we played together before. But anyway, we met again, and I started going out to his gigs with Groovestone, right? With Dale Harrison. Shout out Dale. Dale's an awesome drummer. Used to be in the Headstones.
Okay, yes. Plays in a Foo Fighters.
Plays with everybody
as well.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, with Jolima.
No,
not that one.
No. Oh, wait a second. No, not Mucky Wrench. No.
Yeah, okay, that's Mucky Wrench. Yeah,
no. Dale now does like the classic album stuff, like Fleetwood Mac and everything.
Classic
really cool.
Live or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So Dale was the drummer in Groovestone, and something happened there. But I started to go see them. And then I would get up for a song, because there'd be musicians in the room, or it'd be like a jam situation. And, I started going every week to wherever they were playing, and then I would get up and do a song.
Smart man.
Well, this is just it. I wasn't totally intentional about it.
Okay.
But I started to realize, this is how it works. Okay. And I'm meeting lots of new people. And, okay. And then I became the substitute drummer in the band. So when Dale couldn't do a gig.
You got the call.
And then for whatever reason, these things happen. Something happened. Dale left. I came in. And, again, a shout out Dale. I've met him, since then a few times as well. Great dude. Right. Yeah. We have great conversations. He's very complimentary of my playing. I'm very complimentary of his.
Nice. Respect.
And it's like, it was weird at first, because I'm like, and he was always on the posters. I always remember this. My first few gigs with Groovestone, it's like, it was always Dale on the poster. I razz them about that sometimes, but again, like that's how it worked. And then all of a sudden, okay. So we got a, semi-permanent residency, twice a month. We're going to play. So it's like every other Thursday or whatever, which is what we do now at the Shore in Port Credit.
Right.
So it's about the momentum, getting into, a situation where you get introduced to people, and eventually, if you keep at it, you're tenacious, it might pay off. Yeah. It may not.
It may not.
But the thing is, you got to put yourself out there in order for any kind of opportunity to actually happen.
That's right.
100%.
Yeah.
That's anything in life, I think, right?
Right.
So
100%. Any profession you might be in, it's the same way. It's like, don't be a jerk.
Yeah, right.
Right? Show gratitude.
Absolutely.
Be awesome on the bus. If you're in a tour bus,
be the guy that they want to sit with.
Help out with the gear.
Yeah.
Please, singers.
Hang.
Singers.
I wasn't going to say it. You said it.
You know what? My singer, I got to give him a shout out to Johnny. He out of any band I've ever been in.
Yeah.
He is the first one to help out with all the backline in and out.
Dude.
Right?
There's
So-
a few. There's a few and far between. There's a singer I know as well. I used to jam with, same thing, but only one. The rest of them,
only one. The rest is all like, hey man, we ready to go?
We won't hold it against them, but we don't forget either.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the pocket. That's for sure.
Anyway, yeah.
So Dean,
yeah.
in your opinion, what would you say the key ingredients are for becoming a working drummer in today's market?
Okay, so obviously have your craft down, be able to play, be adaptable. Okay, so Groovestone doesn't rehearse. We don't practice. We get a song list that everybody kind of is, most of the songs we don't do what everybody else is doing, or at least this is what we pride ourselves on.
B-sides.
Right, we do deep cuts, we do things that we want to do. And if we don't have the right players, like for example, a keyboard player to do some 80s song or, like we do like Radio Gaga by Queen, right? Well, then we do run a keyboard track.
Right. Okay.
But guess whose job it is,
It's you. It's the drummer always.
right?
Yes.
So I have learned, shout out Chris McNeil, Tom Barlow Band. Chris McNeil sat me down out of the goodness of his heart because I was going to sub in with Tom and do some gigs with him. And Tom does a whole video thing and tracks and, video projection on the wall and everything, right? Fun. Incredible. I knew nothing about Ableton, right? I started to get a little bit under my belt, but I got frustrated with it because I know people love Ableton, but to me, it's not intuitive at all. Like something like Logic would be, right? But Chris, the drummer, right? Chris McNeil, he plays with the Spoons, plays with Glass Tiger.
Oh, okay.
Right? Chris is an awesome dude. Sat me down, ran me through how to do Ableton, how to build sessions, how to build backing tracks,
very nice.
how to run them.
Nice.
Yeah, there was a little bit of an investment involved on my end.
But well worth it. I'm
But
sure.
skills that help me be adaptable. So if somebody says, hey, can you run tracks? Yes. Right? Yeah. That might be the difference between getting the gig and not.
A very good point.
So in 2025, if you're a drummer and you know how to run tracks, you're in a good position. If you're a drummer that can sing and run tracks, even better.
Yes.
So I do sing backup with some of the bands I'm in. Groovestone, I don't usually have to because 3 singers up front, 3-part harmony. Each guy does lead.
It's covered.
I would just be getting in the way.
They don't need
right?
Dean. They don't need Dean on the
I would just make it awkward. But I do sing in every other band that I'm in, and I love it. So singing drummers, I know this is going to be a thing where it's like some of people just may not, can't sing in key or pitch or, but if you can, and if you think you can, work on it as well as your drumming because, again, if you think about it like a resume, right, and you go in and with 5 other people who got equal qualifications, every extra little thing on there that you can add to your resume, and it's not about padding, it's not about saying something you can do when you can't do it.
You need to be.
It's about I have honed these skills because that drumming is more than just drumming. Drumming is also, clicking off and building Ableton sessions.
Now.
It is about knowing how the video works in that thing. It's about knowing what to do when we were talking when the thing craps the bed and what are you going to do now?
Right.
Right.
Can you still play that
I'm
song?
still not going to buy a second computer and run a redundancy rig.
But do you know the arrangements?
Well,
and the
yes, to get
patterns
through the song.
To get through the
Oh,
song
yeah.
without
Yes.
hearing anything.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Like I played with cues, we got this 80s thing and sometimes we got the cues going and it's really funny, right? So sometimes I'll put thing in a different language to throw off the guitar player. It's amazing. Rickford, shout out Rickford. Shout out Jimmy Reed.
Get all these crooked looks.
Jimmy Reed. You just brought up Jimmy Reed. Shout out Jimmy Reed. Eh?
Oh, yeah.
What a beauty.
You know Jimmy.
Of course.
Oh, come on. Oh, there you go.
Of course, Jimmy Reed.
Jimmy Reed's the best. JR. Jimmy Reed. And Chris Caddell. Shout out Chris Caddell because he plays in Groovestone every once in a while too. Right?
Nice.
Anyway.
Little super group.
Oh, dude, it's so fun to play with those guys because it's like I'm lucky. These guys are all pros. They've been doing it for a long time. They're incredible at what they do, and I get to provide the backbeat for this. Like
That's amazing.
It's I get as much out of it as any audience would because I'm like, wow, honing the skills, being adaptable, having a vocabulary of drumming, so a little bit about different styles that you can, help to incorporate. Because all of a sudden, we'll be playing a gig like in a Tom Barlow situation where he does a lot of really great coverage of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It's like all of a sudden we're doing Mirror in the Bathroom, English beat. And then all of a sudden we're, launching into, oh God, he pulled last week, Tom, I love you. But he pulled out, no, I love Tom. He said, hey, for tonight's gig, do you know 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover? Steve Gadd.
Steve Gadd. Just let me figure that out real quick.
I love that song. It's like one of the, like it's like a beat that's like a metric for how good you are, and it's Steve Gadd. And so we did it, and I don't know how I did. I mean, I think I kept it together, but it's like, oh man,
you were prepared.
But this is just it, right? At least I did know how to play it because I've watched Steve Gadd play that 1,000 times, and I knew the pattern. Because it sounds like it's all on the snare drum, but it's not. There's this thing on the hi-hat that he does. And so I got through it.
Good for you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I'm glad I didn't see any video of it the next day. But it's stuff like that. It's like, work on that vocabulary. Don't stick to one genre. Try to learn and get inspired by music from all these other genres. And then that will come out in your playing eventually.
Yeah, that's really, really important. Well,
Amazing.
Guess what time it is, guys?
It's the Paradiddle Challenge.
No!
Oh, here we go. My friend Dean, are you ready for this?
Not at all.
Oh, you're going to do great, my friend.
I think you got it, Dean.
No. You don't even know. I've been fearing this. I'm looking at the wall with all the names that have gone on before me, and I'm scared. But hey, come on.
You're a good
It's all in
sport.
good fun.
Yes, you're a good sport.
I am.
So we're going to start you off at 100 BPM, quarter
Okay.
notes, and
All right.
we'll go up in increments of 20.
Okay.
Here we go. He's got
He's
it.
got that one, though. We're going to go up to 120 now.
Yes, here we go.
This is the perfect tempo, right? 126, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that one down, Adam.
So 140.
We're in the pocket there. 160.
Here it is. It's put up or shut up.
You got this, Dean.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, do you want to take it up to 180 or do you want to go to 170?
Let's go to 170.
Okay.
I'm feeling cocky,
I think
but I'm
you got
about to
this.
be humbled.
Here you go.
We could go to 180.
I'm seeing different colors.
Don't hold your breath.
No, I'm going to top out there.
One-
Could we do 175?
We can try 175.
Ah,
170 is
170
comfortable.
it is.
oh, but okay.
Good job, Dean.
Thanks,
Very
man.
good job, Dean. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're
That was
welcome.
humbling, and yet I learned something.
Did you?
I did. Thank you.
Good.
All right, so in your opinion, what would you say the 3 rudiments are? The most important rudiments that every drummer should have down and know. What would you say they are, in your opinion?
Well, the paradiddle, of course. No, seriously, like that exercise and that challenge, is fantastic. But can you do that on the kit? Can you orchestrate it on the kit?
100%.
yes.
After I saw Thomas Lang doing this at Mach whatever speed, I was like, whoa, okay, so that's where you can go with it. Not all of us are going to get there.
That's right.
But I'm like, ghost notes and those grace notes in a groove just glue things together so much more. So yeah, paradiddles, 100%. Double paradiddles, whatever, 100%. Another rudiment, flams. Come on.
Your flam man.
Flam taps, like whatever. Rudiments, they're all good. Yeah, they're all good. Double stroke rolls too, man. Like 6-stroke roll, 5-stroke roll. It's all, because when you want to, you know what I mean? Like every drummer needs to know this in order to start at least one song they're going to play in their lifetime.
It's so true.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Like everybody's got to learn that. So, there. You know what? This is the whole thing about rudiments, and I think we know now. It's like rudiments because when I started playing drums with Al Blue way back when, I started off on just a snare drum.
Just snare, straight
snare, right? Rented a snare drum, later rented the kit, then got my first kit, right? But in the beginning, it was just snare drum. And that's frustrating because you want to play drums. You don't want to play snare drum, right?
Boring.
Yeah, but it's like you'll get those rudiments down, but then when you get the kit, don't throw the rudiments out. Now you got to apply them to the kit.
You walk around the kit with them.
Yeah, you got to orchestrate them differently. So, all of a sudden, paradiddles, you start doing inverted paradiddles with using toms, and next thing you know, you're playing some really cool stuff that you didn't even realize the root of which was the paradiddle.
The paradiddle, yeah. Interesting, 100%.
Yeah, man, it's all that stuff.
So, learning rudiments can be frustrating sometimes. So when kids are getting challenged, or drummers, new drummers are getting challenged with, whatever they're trying to learn, what kind of advice can you give them to keep trucking forward and moving forward?
Play to music. Don't play to a click. You play to a click, but when it gets boring and you stop doing it, and that's not good for you and you know it, put a song on and play to a song.
Right.
Right? Because you can play a paradiddle to any number of songs in different tempos.
That's true.
Find a song that's like, what did I just do the other day? Because I think I did this. I can't remember the song, but I was just like, I was playing a paradiddle and just whatever, messing around on a pad. And then, sometimes I have YouTube on and I'll put a song on. And then you just start jamming with the song. And especially new music, because most new music will be at least in some part gridded or, to a metronome.
Quantized.
So you got, quantized, and you got some, something to compare to. Play to music, play to your favorite song, but work those paradiddles or whatever you're working on while playing to music instead of, you know what it was? It was the Immigrant song. Led Zeppelin.
Let's paradiddle,
paradiddle. It writes itself, and you get the practice in, and you do it in a musical context, which is not boring.
Right. Livens it up a little bit, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, Dean, now's the time. Let everybody know what you got going on. You got a new album out. You got a new music video you're working on. What do you got going on for 2025? Let the people know.
Okay. April 26th, Alma Combo upstairs.
Okay.
The James Clark Institute.
Awesome.
Great venue, by the way.
Amazing.
Since they redid it.
100%. Downstairs is nice. Upstairs is the deadest and most amazing sound stage. When you're up there playing, you don't have the volume wars. It's amazing. Anyway, so that's James Clark Institute. We usually do the Alma Combo twice a year, and I think this is the first. Hopefully we will be back. But I love playing there. It's fantastic. Groovestone every other Thursday, this Thursday, and then 2 weeks from now we do twice a month. At the Shore Grill and Grotto in Port Credit. Lovely Port Credit. It's a shore thing. That's their motto. Love that place. We get treated very well there. Nice. We do 8 to 12 every Thursday, 3 sets, or every other Thursday. And good rock and roll, deep cuts,
Fun.
Danceable, listenable. Sometimes we go crazy and we'll play Iron Maiden 2 minutes to midnight.
How fast?
Probably faster than album tempo, but we still do it. And then, James Clark is writing new music as we speak.
Nice.
Hopefully going into the studio, I think, again with Mo Berg from The Pursuit of Happiness.
Okay.
Shout out Mo Berg. He's amazing. Matt Burkhart is somebody that I work with every once in a while because Matt is a singer-songwriter, country guy, country rock guy. He's going to be coming down in May, and we're going to be doing a couple of songs. He lives up north. So Matt Burkhart and the Sorrows is the name of the band. Matt Burkhart is the artist. Check him out. His albums are great. Fantastic. Kind of a connection. He had Sekou, the drummer from Ian Thornley's band. What am I? Big Wreck.
Big Wreck.
Big Wreck. Sorry.
Or Ian Thornley, yeah.
Sekou, the drummer, played some tracks on his, or I think one, maybe more tracks on his record. There's just a connected point because Chris Caddell's in that band, and I get to play with Chris every once in a while.
Right.
But I'll be playing with him a couple times in May.
Nice.
And then whatever the summer has in store, I'm ready for it.
Right.
If you need a drummer, let me know.
Let Dean know. And you're going to share with us the James Clark Institute song right now.
That'd be awesome.
We're going to cut to that now. We'll see you guys in a minute.
Today is the kind of day to listen to blue, and a kind of blue too. The rain on my parade caused the floods to wash away, and the wind won't inflate a kind of you. Down on 30th, the downpour was murderous, but I had some troubles to wash away. Refused by your wedding kiss, I perused my top 40 list, and I found a couple of mainstays. Now today is the kind of day to listen to blue, and a kind of blue too. Rain on my parade caused the floods to wash away, and the wind won't inflate a kind of you. Number 39.
Well, thank you, Dean, for coming in today. We really appreciate making the drive all the way from Toronto to our studio today. It means a lot to us.
Thanks, guys. This was awesome. Thank you, both of you.
No problem.
You have been gentlemen.
Thank you.
This was a great thing. I think everybody needs to support this podcast because it's we need drummer podcasts.
That's
you know,
right.
we're a community of people that support each other, and the first way you can do this is obviously by subscribing to this channel. Absolutely.
Absolutely. We only wish you the best on your journey moving forward.
Thank you, my friends.
No problem.
And if anyone is interested in checking out Dean Crushing the Kit, make sure you check out all the social media content at the links below.
Well, until next time, everybody.
Keep grooving. Have fun.
Yeah, and remember to hit that subscribe, that like button, and turn on that notification bell.
See you next time.
In paradise.
I